Hey everyone, I am Brittany, and welcome to another In the Dark episode. So for this one, I decided I wanted to look at the case of baby Candelario. This case was in the news quite recently. Her mother, so this is what happened. Yeah. This shit. Okay, so I am reading from NBC News, and the date of this article is March 21st, 2024. Kristel Candelario was sentenced to life in prison for the death of her toddler. This hoe left her baby, 16-month-old child, at home alone in a pack and play for over 10 days while she went on a vacation. I said, what the hell? So this happened in Cleveland, and her daughter's name was Jailyn. I believe she came back on day 11. But the thing about this case, well, a few things about this case that pissed me off were, first off, what the hell did you think was going to happen? When you listen to the 911 tape, at least this happened for me. When I listened to the 911 tape, I was like, I know you better stop crying. Like, what the fuck are you crying for? You left your child in a pack and play for 10 days with, I think, like 3 bottles of water or 3 bottles of milk. You left that baby for 10 days. What did you think you were going to come home to? And she was just crying, help me, help me, help me. But the other thing that pissed me off is that the coroner, no one in the family advocated for baby Jailyn. Even the grandparents. They were like, our daughter has mental issues. Please go light on her. She would never intentionally hurt her child. And this is a woman who, according to neighbors, left that baby alone all the time. And the kicker is that Kristel Candelario lived with both her parents and her sister. And was still leaving a 16-month-old at home by itself. So, back to the coroner. The coroner seemed to be the only one that was concerned and advocated for baby Jailyn Candelario. It was crazy. It was crazy to watch. So I'm like, I want to know what's going on spiritually with her. Like, I think Kristel probably does have some mental issues. She does have another child though. I'm like, how in the hell did that, like, I think it's older. That child's older, but I'm like, you kept that child alive? How? But the coroner said that Jailyn Candelario, this is a little graphic, but the mom tried to say, Kristel Candelario tried to tell the police that her baby wasn't eating, and that was the problem. And that's why it wasn't moving, because she tried to feed it all day yesterday, the day before, when she was in Puerto Rico, I believe. No, she was in Detroit at that point. Trying to say that is why. Even though the baby had feces under its nails and had feces in its mouth. So, yeah, that didn't fly. The other thing this hoe did was she changed the baby's clothing before she called the police. So for the parents to be like, she has mental issues, she didn't know what she was doing, please go light on her. No. You changed that baby's clothes before the police, the paramedics could come because it was covered in feces. And that's what the coroner reported. The bedding, the pack and play, covered in feces. Everything was covered in feces. So this woman is insane, I think. But I would love to see what my squad, my spirits have to say. No, Nova, what are you doing? This giant baby. All right, so what deck do I want to use? Let me pause while I figure out a deck. Okay, I am back. I wanted to use a different deck, but I don't know where it is. So I'm going to use the Crow Tarot, possibly. But what the hell is going... Yeah. Inquiring minds would like to know. Nova, you are 100. There you go. Good girl. A big mastiff under my table. Over 100 pounds. Earlier, she was under my chair. I'm like, you do not fit under this dining room table chair. Sweet girl. All right, so squad. Those are my guardian angels, ancestors, and spirit guides. I call them squad because that's a mouthful. All right, what is going on with that woman? I'm not taking that. That's interesting. The card that flipped out while I was shuffling is the Three of Swords reversed. But I'm going to put it back because I didn't quite get my intention in there. But it's funny because I did 2 other readings tonight and the Three of Swords came out in those decks as well. And it was totally different decks. So I always like when that happens, but yeah, what is going on with Kristel Candelario? Oh, and all throughout her trial, she, I guess, claimed she needed an interpreter, even though she talked to the police in English just fine. So I'm like, I can give her the benefit of the doubt. Like, there's a lot of legalese in court, I assume. And so, yeah, probably would not understand some things, but certainly you could understand pleading guilty or not guilty. I don't know. But there's a lot of like medical jargon with the coroner. So I'm like, okay, I can kind of see why she needed an interpreter. But it was still very interesting because in her personal statement where she said, I know that God and my child, they forgive me. She did all of that in Spanish. You're circling, you're army crawling your way. There you go. There you go, big booty. Oh, don't look back. You're so cute. Okay, what's going on with Kristel Candelario? Candelaro or Candelaro? Candelaro. I'm trying to learn Spanish. We're going to see how it goes. I did try to learn Korean. I got pretty far with that. So random. All right. What is going on? Good girl. Poor baby had diarrhea today. Diarrhea with 100+ pound dog. Not fun at all. Kristel and Jailyn Candelario. What? And that little baby was so cute. This is interesting. All right, so 5 cards came out. Let's see which ones they are. Anyway, 2 of them flipped out already. Huh. Okay. So, the first card that came out is the Lovers reversed. Then the 9 of Swords, but reversed. The 9 of Wands, upright. The Hierophant. And the Ace of Pentacles. What the hell? I don't know if she was in a relationship, but I think... Oh, yeah, she went on vacation with her boyfriend. Something about that, she thought that this vacation would bring them closer together, but, like, I'm getting, he was like, you left your whole ass baby alone? Are you crazy? Something about she thought that going on this vacation would rekindle their relationship, and she felt like that was the most important thing. She's definitely not right in the head. Which, if you leave your baby alone for 10 days, yeah, you're not right in the head. I feel like I'm also getting that I don't know what she thought, but with this Ace of Pentacles, I feel like she was hoping people would feel sorry for her and give her money. She was going to try and say that this baby died of natural causes to try and raise money so she could have money. Not fucking realizing, not realizing that, yeah, you can't just report a dead baby. Also, it was probably highly visibly obvious that this child died from starvation, because rigor mortis would have been set in, because I don't remember when the coroner estimated that she died, but I'm like, there had to be obvious signs of malnutrition and probably blue. Like, that baby's not going to look like a freshly dead baby. Like, it would be warm, and I'm assuming that, I'm sorry if this is triggering, but I'm like, there's no way in hell that baby would have been warm. Like, that poor child, poor little Jailyn. She was so cute. But yeah, I think she was hoping... She was hoping for public recognition. Like, I know the Hierophant is typically about, like, a teacher or something. A teacher or a spiritual leader, things like that. I'm getting, she thought she would get, like, attention and get money. with this Ace of Pentacles. And I'm reading the cards intuitively. I don't really know what they mean traditionally, but this is what I'm getting intuitively. Like, bitch, are you crazy? I'm I'm gonna use my Kipper deck. The good old Kipper. The Kipper deck. Lord Jesus. On the bottom of this deck is Lovers. Go to sleep, little baby. I don't even have kids, but I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, that is just so crazy. And then to hear that she was hoping to get like some kind of, she wanted to be like one of them women from like back in the 90s. I can't remember which mother that was that rolled the car with the babies into the river and drowned them. And then she was on TV like sobbing, please, I want my children to come home. And then you find out later she actually killed the kids. This is what she was wanting to do. It's weird. That is what she was wanting to do. And she thought like also something about, I feel like she could feel her boyfriend pulling away. And so she also thought if there was one less baby, he would stay. What the fuck? Girl, are you crazy? What the hell? She did all this for her boyfriend, I think. For boyfriend and to get money. Because she wanted to get sympathy. I wouldn't be surprised if she had Munchausen by proxy. Because that's what it's feeling like. Except instead of making her kids sick, she kills them. Which I guess is the ultimate Munchausen by proxy. Well, I guess not really. Because those mothers typically, they want their kids to be sick for a long time so that they can always get sympathy. So they're always like making their kids sick and making them have unnecessary procedures. She's that and a murderer. I'm also getting the sense she thought them bottles, for some reason, she's like, it feels like she put adult critical thinking onto a 16-month-old. Because what I'm also getting is that she thought that that baby would be able to figure out that she needed to make the milk last longer. Like, bitch, that baby is not even 2 years old. What are you talking about? Even a 2-year-old couldn't do that. Like, what? She's pissing me off. She is pissing me off. All right. Let's see, Kipper. That was the family room card, and it landed upside down on the Lovers. Okay. I'm getting that her family knows she's crazy. Like, they know something's wrong with her. Why they continue to shelter, that's like what I'm getting. Like, they don't want her to take any responsibility for her actions. I'm getting something about a head trauma when she was younger. Something like... I'm getting it's possibly a head trauma that removed her empathy or turned off that part of her brain. Good girl, my nose. It could be. I don't know. It could be a head trauma. They could just be making shit up. Like, I would not be surprised if they're trying to come out and say that. Well, she had a head trauma. We should get an MRI or something. But there's really no excuse. I don't even have kids. And I'm like, there's really no excuse for this, lady. Whether you have a head trauma or not, you are a parent. And so your child comes first before anything. If you know you cannot take care of your child, please give your child to someone who can. I know that's a tough decision. I know it's like so much easier said than done, but I'm like, she couldn't have asked a neighbor. Now, I'm sure the neighbors probably were fed up with her because she was always leaving that kid at home. But one neighbor used to watch her kids, I thought. I believe they interviewed her on the news. I'm like, why didn't you ask them? Like, but maybe the neighbors were fed up. I don't know. Like, you keep asking, like, you need to take care of your kids. Stop asking other people to take care of your kids. And so her response to that is to just leave the baby at home alone. I'm getting her parents I am getting that her parents told her that she would get away with this. Because I'm getting her parents coddled her because they always knew something was wrong with her. So they let her get away with murder. Literally in this case, fuck, damn. So they literally I cannot stand people. Throughout this process, they kept telling her, like, you're gonna get off, it's okay. They like shield her from the truth. And so she's never fully grown up emotionally. Because they have sheltered and coddled her because they know she cray. Also, for the grandparents to still sit up there and give a personal statement and talk only of their daughter and never of their granddaughter, that is weird. Like, that kind of defies the whole not stereotypical, but like the family system. I majored in human development and family studies. So yeah, grandparents, once parents become grandparents, they typically are very invested in the grandchildren because they will be furthering the lineage. So for the parents to not only to not say, like, our daughter is sick, she didn't, she has mental problems and blah, 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 blah. For them to not only do that, but to also, like, not even mention baby Jailyn and not even advocate for her shows that that family is really fucked up. Really fucked up. What is going on in this family? Let's ask the kipper. Now, that car that popped out, sudden wealth, reversed. And it landed where the Ace of Pentacles was before I moved it. So definitely I'm getting a poor family. Something about the mom. Oh my God. She may have told one of her parents what she was planning on doing, because something about this is how I can get money for the family, because they all lived in the same house. Well, I don't know if she has any brothers, but it was the mom, baby Jailyn, the mom's sister, and the mom's parents all in one house. She may have told one of her parents what she was planning on doing. One of them may be sick. This is weird. I just got like first one in, first one out. Yeah, she wanted to be on a pedestal. The mom, Kristel. Something about like saving the day. I'm getting someone may have cancer, or they just got a serious diagnosis that requires a lot of hospital time and therefore money. But this girl is fucked in the head anyway. So because I'm getting who, if she did in fact tell someone, they were like, don't do that. Like, they're like, we can figure it out. But something in Kristel's head, it's like she was consumed by greed and consumed by pride and consumed about looking like the savior, the family savior, because she had always been the black sheep. But like, to kill your kid? What? This does not make a lick of sense to me. I'm going to use this Occult Tarot deck to see what else. Are there any demons or anything? I really like these cards. I love the red gilded edges. There we go. There we go. All right. What is going on in that family? What is the energy in that family? Okay. This is interesting. So the first demon that came out is Zagan, and it says turns water into wine and back again, turns blood into wine, turns any metal into legal tender coins, and makes fools wise. What I'm getting is that Kristel and whoever she told in her family thought that they could beat the system with makes fools wise. One of them thought that this was a good idea and that if they just kept saying the baby wouldn't eat, then the police would be like, oh, okay, that's fine. Like, they didn't even take into consideration, like, the condition of her body. It's almost like that is how little they cared about this child. It is despicable. Like, what in the hell? So the other card is Ose. I don't know. But it says, makes one cunning in liberal sciences, gives true answers on divine and secret things, able to turn others into different forms and convince them that the change is real. They were thinking they could convince trained investigators that baby died because it wouldn't eat. Wow. You're a whole dumbass. Like, what? I just got the parents may have turned to a psychic or some kind of witch doctor to help her get away with this. And all they did was just take their money. Like, it was a scammer. I think they went back to Mexico to find this person because they're revered in the village or revered in the town. But it was a scam. So this is the weirdest shit I have ever seen. I'm gonna pull from one more deck. There we go. I'm going to use the dark mirror deck. I should have asked, like, what was the purpose of this happening? That probably would have been a better answer. Maybe I'll do that next. I don't know. Like, girl, what? It's 11:33. Gots to love those angel numbers. All right. Frame of mind and anything else going on in this weird family. Today for tomorrow. Wow. Hope is in the present. It's the brick we use to build the future. It may seem like a trade-off to sacrifice the present in order to secure a better future. That's what ants do. Or to sacrifice the future to enjoy a better present. Cicadas do this. Either choice holds a bitter taste. It's like watching a child play. That's interesting. Shouldn't she study? And if she were studying, wouldn't she regret not playing more? You meet a person you are attracted to. Do you go past and let them stay in the fantasy, or do you make a move and follow it through the ephemeral ending, to the ephemeral ending? The endless choice between regret and remorse. What if, for once, we turn our back to the dark? We do the unexpected and reshred it like a used dress. It says like an used dress, but it's the inappropriate usage of an, I believe. N-A-N. Anyway. It's such a weirdo. We can walk by the sea as no one is around, and we skinny dip out of our worries. The present and the future are one single integrated connection. There is no choice because the road is only one. What we are today and what we are tomorrow may be different, but it is the same person. What I'm getting with this is that Kristel thought she was doing the right thing. Something about, I don't know why exactly. It doesn't really say that in the meaning, but that is what I'm getting, is that she was like, I will gladly. She was not thinking about the future, I feel like, when she did this. She was, in some ways, like, if she was hoping to get money, but she didn't think about the ramifications of what if this backfired, because her planning was shit. Like, 3 bottles for over 10 days. I don't have a kid, but I know that that's not enough. And also, 16 months old, way too young to be left alone. Also, when it said it's like watching child's play. It actually says it's like watching a child play, but I read it as it's like watching children play. And, she left her in a pack and play. So I feel like this is definitely for her. This does not feel like that great of a reading, and I was really excited to do it. Anyway, Kristel operates from instant gratification, I guess is what I'm trying to say. She wanted her boyfriend in that minute. She felt him pulling away. So she decided to go on vacation with him. And I think they were saying she was majorly depressed. And that could have been why he was pulling away. But instead of thinking about tomorrow, as in, what about your responsibilities and obligations to your own child versus going on vacation so you feel better? I think she actually said that in the court docs. It was to help her mental health so she could feel better. Like, wouldn't you have felt better if you would have planned? Or like this card was saying, like, it's weird. It is really weird. I don't get this. She operates in the here and now, and it's like her detriment. Oh, I just got that. That is why this happened. Because this was like, her squad had been testing her, Kristel, to be a better mother, or to at least accept that she cannot take care of one of her kids and do something about it, take appropriate steps, be a grown-up. Her squad had been trying to tell her that. And this was the culmination of it. Because like I said, and like I saw on the news, neighbors knew she left this child home alone regularly. Yeah. So the whole neighborhood knew. Also, I'm getting this is going to be on their conscience too, because if you're not familiar with the case, or if you have not seen any of the recordings, there is a Ring doorbell recording of from a neighbor's house, where you can hear Jailyn crying inside the house. And I know that there were some people on the internet saying like, well, why didn't the neighbors do anything? And like, I get it on one hand, like, oh, if you hear a baby crying, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to run in and charge in. But if you know this woman leaves her child at home alone a lot, and the baby has been crying and crying and crying, yeah, bust in there. So this is a lesson for like this whole neighborhood. It almost feels like a spiritual lesson for the neighborhood and the people in the neighborhood. Like, look what happens when you don't act. Damn. Look what happens when you don't say something. Now there's a baby that's dead. And not that it's like necessarily the neighbor's obligation, but like, there is kind of a moral, like a moral obligation if you hear a baby crying for hours. Like I read on Instagram, someone was like, I would be so annoyed if my neighbors, ring my doorbell every time my baby cried. But like, there's a difference between hearing a baby crying and then hearing it quiet down because possibly it is being taken care of, versus a baby like crying for hours. And I saw someone comment and they said, I had a baby who had colic, and I was a single mother, and my neighbor would come down anytime she heard my baby cry. And she said, it turned out my neighbor was a nurse, so she showed me how to help the baby latch on so that she could breastfeed. And it like became an amazing thing. It's almost like this Candelario situation is the ultimate example of the inverse of It Takes a Village. Like, look what happens when the village doesn't act. I think this may be a societal lesson too. Like, we need to be there for each other more than we are. They're saying that's one of the lessons in this, is that we have become too much of an individualistic society, and here is what happens. Not only does greed come in, but selfishness and just low, I don't want to say low vibrational because I'm not that spiritual, but like low energy shit that leads to big problems. Like trading today for tomorrow because you don't want to face the consequences of tomorrow. That's the other thing I'm getting with that. Let's live in the moment. I'll deal with the consequences tomorrow, even though I don't really want to deal with them. I'm getting there are some in that neighborhood that are really upset about this because they heard it and didn't act. I'm getting that family is like the weird family on the block. Where like no one really knows what's going on in there and they don't really want to know because they're weird. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. So it also makes sense that they didn't want to get involved. Like, this family is crazy. I feel like that's what I'm getting from the neighbors. They all kind of knew they were crazy. So they're like, I don't... Like, some of them were like, who leaves their baby alone? Like, what? But instead of acting up and saying something or doing something, they decided to close their eyes. And now they have to deal with the consequences. And I'm getting the more that we keep doing this, the more this crazy shit is just going to keep happening. Until we finally wake up and decide we want to reunite or be there for one another in a wholesome way. To truly try and help people be their best selves. Oh, I think that's one of the Earth's lessons. The U.S. on a spiritual level, the U.S. and or the world's spiritual lesson. Because if we don't, it won't be good. I've seen it. It won't be good. But yeah, that makes sense. This is just another iteration of showing the downsides of being such an individualistic society. Well, I hope this was, I don't know, entertaining. I don't fucking know. All I know is that they weird. Like fucking weird. And I'm still like, how can the grandparents do that to their grandchild? Like, there's no excuse for your wacky daughter. And then gonna come home and cry in the phone. I was like, if she don't shut up. Because, again, what were you expecting, you dumbass? You left your baby alone in a play and pack and play for over 10 days with 2 or 3 bottles of milk. Ooh, I kind of hope she gets dealt with in prison. I hate to say that, but they do not fuck with child perps of any kind in prison. I'm like, okay, there's some justice there. Since we have horrible laws for this, but she got life with no possibility of parole, thank God. Because she should not be out. And if anything, she needs to get some fucking therapy while she's in there because she is not wired right. Like, there is something 100 fundamentally off about her. She is incapable of thinking kind of clearly. And like I said, I was kind of getting like a head injury when she was little. Something. But she... I don't know. There's just something really wrong with her. It could be a head injury, but also it's like part of the family. That's why they're all fucking weird. I'm sure there's trauma, but it's almost like a developmental disability. Or like they can only, or like, I'm getting, if the mother doesn't have it, the grandmother had it. Like, it may skip a generation, whatever this defect is. But it's like, she fundamentally can't really think ahead. Damn, that's why it was today for tomorrow. She fundamentally can't think ahead. She has the thinking and the mind of like a teenager. 13 maybe. Probably younger, because I don't know what the fuck she thought. See, this is all over the place. I feel like I'm getting like that she had a head injury, but then I also got that like she did this for money. She forgot while she was on vacation, and her family was gone too. She forgot and remembered while she was on vacation. But I'm like, didn't you leave knowing you were going to leave this baby? But she was not even thinking about the future at that point. It didn't dawn on her until she was kikiing in fucking Puerto Rico, I think is where she went. It's very pretty down there. But it didn't dawn upon her like, oh my God, my baby will probably be dead. What can I do? And so I think she called her mom, and her mom was like, it's okay. We're going to figure it out. And then she was like, oh, I can probably become like one of those moms and get lots of sympathy, like Gypsy Rose's mom or something like that. And I think her mom was like, we can do that. We can figure it out. So when you get home, so like they plotted that together after they realized the baby was probably dead. It was like, oh, lost cause. No one, I'm like, what? Like, no one thought to say like, we need to go have a neighbor check on the baby right away. No. It was like, oh, well, the baby's probably already dead anyway. So here's what we're going to do. And here is how we're going to try and get some money out of this. Because I think I can milk it for being a mother who this horrible accident happened to. And the baby just would not eat for no reason. She did not realize that she would be coming home. Damn. That's what it was. She didn't realize she would be coming home to a feces stained play, like pack and play. For some reason, she thought the baby just would have looked like it fell asleep. I don't know why. She does not have like fundamental thinking skills. Fundamental. Not even critical. Fundamental thinking skills. Like, oh, if I leave my baby and I don't change its diaper. She didn't even think like, oh, there would probably be feces everywhere. Oh, her diaper would probably fall off, and then she would probably poop in the pack and play. Like, she did not even think that far. She thought everything was going to be just as she left it. Similar to a teenager. Also, that frontal lobe, there may have been, I was getting something about a frontal lobe. But I don't know if that impacts memory. But something with her frontal lobe does not work. And that's like critical thinking skills, I believe. And like thinking ahead, she doesn't have that. Higher level executive functions is what. Higher cognitive functions such as memory, emotions, impulse control. She must have had damage to her frontal lobe. Oh, I got it. May have happened while she was born. There may have been something wrong. Something didn't fuse, something. I don't know, but I think she had damage to her frontal lobe when she was young, possibly when she was being born. There was something, and that is what has impacted this. It was already present in the family. Because I'm like, why did y'all tell me this is present in the family? They said, my squad is like, it is, but we needed to make it blatantly obvious for this family to fix it. So we damaged her her frontal lobe was damaged to make it even more apparent that there is something in this family that's really wrong and they need to fix it. And that even with this, they're still all living a lie. And I feel like the mother and the father, they keep telling themselves she didn't mean to kill the baby. She really didn't. Because, again, they ascribe to her thinking like a 5-year-old. So they also neglected to teach her how to think or how to have empathy, which it would be hard to teach someone how to have empathy if they don't have empathy. But I know psychologists can do that. But of course, I'm getting the family was poor, so like, how would they have even helped? How would they have even gotten the resources to be like, okay, this is the issue and here's how we fix it? But yeah. Her problem solving skills are like at a 3rd grade level. And her ability to look into the future of her actions is like a 13-year-old at most. Wow. So she had damage to her frontal lobe. A brain injury. And I'm getting the family probably would not have even seen this as a brain injury if they're aware of it. Because like I said, it could have happened in birth. And so they could have just thought this is normal or something. I'm almost getting like the doctor accidentally hit her head with the forceps to like, not forceps, but the thingies to get the baby out. She may have had a dent in her forehead or frontal lobe area. And I know like that place, it doesn't fuse, but this is something different. It's in the frontal lobe area and it did not heal properly or something. There may have been visible signs that there was damage to it, but either the doctors lied to them and said, "Oh, that's normal." I think the doctors lied because they didn't want to take fault in having something about when she was born. It was chaotic, very chaotic. So the parents kind of couldn't really focus on that anyway. I don't know if she was close to miscarrying or dying, the mother, but I just got the possibly during childbirth, I feel like such a crackpot psychic saying, it's possible this, it's possible that. But I'm getting like she may have lost oxygen to the brain. Because the umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck. And she was breech. This is very specific. She was breech and the cord was wrapped around her neck. But I'm like, oxygen to the brain would not necessarily mean frontal lobe damage, per se. Anyway, something happened to her brain that affected her frontal lobe. And that's why she doesn't have any empathy. I'm getting, it could be, I feel like it may be on both sides of the family, the lack of empathy piece. But I'm almost getting on the mother's side, it's worse. Which, I don't know. It's bad on both sides. And I feel like the mother helped her because she was like, this is what mothers do. I'm supposed to protect my daughter at any cost. Not even realizing, like, well, actually you're acting like your grandchild does not matter. So this is definitely interesting. I have no clue what I think about anything that I just got. I don't even know if I'm going to post this. That sounds crazy. Anyway. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, bye-bye.